I love how Fan, he's like, I love ZvP late game, but I struggle against certain timings, so I just go for queen walks. I avoid queen walks. I avoid them, mate. I haven't fallen to the dark side yet. Not yet. But here we go. Finally, after quite a break, we are now diving into another series. Not a qualifying match yet, but we are almost there. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Pride of Altares LE, we have the Polish Zerg player. He is blue, representing x-kom AGO. It is Elazer. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Pride of Altares LE, we have the American Protoss. Ooh, with a bit of a cheeky probe here across the map, looking to deny the... I love it! I love it! She read the scenario! Delays the natural base. We have the American Protoss, representing Storm Gaming. It is Nina. There we go. Also, shout out to Chase, who's also in the chat, lurking there. I see you, Chase. I see you. Oh god, and yeah, that was a cheeky start to kick off this series. Elazer. There we go. Just letting Pig know the score. But yeah, that was a cheeky start there, where Elazer was trying to take the goal base as his natural, but Nina was already there to deny it, so it does kind of force Elazer's opener to be a little bit more inefficient. So already a nice start for Nina. It's not the biggest of deals, but it is there. Meanwhile, Elazer still wants that gold. He still wants it, and he will take it with a very greedy opener, going for a hatch gas pool, but straight into that third base at the 20 supply mark. So a very greedy opener. This dies horribly to early aggression. Horribly. And this does delay your queens. As we can see, there's only one queen being produced at a time right now. We should see the second shortly. But again, it does kind of put them on hold a little bit for a faster third. Now, this base is incredibly exposed, but Nina doesn't know about it. She hasn't scouted it. She was out of the map earlier, and as far as she knows, the third base is going to be in a regular location, so she's still a little bit in the dark. But once she gets eyes on this, like, this is such an exposed base, she can punish it. And here we go. First Adept is still not moving out. Still just threatening, tempted to move out. Has to be careful, because if the Adept does leave and there are some Lings, then the Lings can waddle in and cause some havoc. But there we go. We do have a full wall off. We have a probe. Nina is safe at home, and she is free to send out that first Adept. And immediately she checks the gold. And there we go. She does confirm that there is in fact a gold base. So annoying, I imagine, as a Protoss player. I'm not a Protoss player, but I imagine she's a little bit... Oh, God. Okay, well, now I know where my focus has to lie. She has to focus on trying to deny this as best she can. Does go for a Stargate opener, is for an Oracle first, though. So she's less concerned with denying scouting. She is much more concerned with dealing damage. As I'm sure we'll get a Void Ray eventually. Meanwhile, because of this Adept, Elazer, all of these eggs have been making nothing but Overlords, Elazer Lords, if you will, and a lot of mining has been denied here. So a decent start for Nina again, just forcing a lot of lost mining time here. The gold base still hasn't paid for itself, just lava, and there we go. The queens finally do rotate over. Because there are two queens here, one Void Ray is not going to be enough to really overwhelm them and deal damage. Oracle will rock up, force a spore, and that is it. Nina at least confirms that there are two bases at the natural, and that also means that maybe some of the other bases are a little bit more vulnerable. Elazer has to do the best job he can to connect them all by creep to try and protect them as best he can with all his queens. Queens off of creep, they're not the best unit. They're not the fastest unit, I should say. As the Oracle didn't really deal too much damage, more scatting than anything else, so it can kind of set things up for what Nina is going for. As it looks to be, Sky Toss. There is +1 air attack. We do have the second Stargate as well, so we're just going to be seeing mass Void Ray to begin, and we'll see where she goes from here. At the same time, ooh, my apologies, but 3 drones got picked off by an Oracle. Oh my god. Very nicely done. I assumed that the Oracle wasn't going to deal any more damage, but there's no Spore. Elazer is being quite greedy here at the gold. only relying on his queens. To be fair, like, at the highest level of play, you want to cut corners and you want to defend with as little as possible, but Elazer was just punished for that. Meanwhile, I was really curious to see what the follow-up was going to be. You can go double Stargate Void Ray into Charge Lots. You can do it into Robo and Disruptors. You can do it into even Blink Stalkers, I've seen. But Nina is being even more greedy, going for a third Stargate and a Fleet Beacon. Jesus Christ. Sorry, not a third Stargate. Still 2 Stargates, but going straight into a Fleet Beacon. We'll see if this is going to Fast Carriers, Fast Tempest, or Flux Veins. Couple of options here for Nina. Meanwhile, Void Rays are about to show up. Again, there's no Spore. Ay. 2 drones go down immediately, and an Overlord. A second Overlord. Oh, gets 2. Get a Spore. God damn. Nina getting a lot of damage with just 2 Void Rays. Unfortunately, Elazer was out of position. And there it is. It is going to be Tempests. Oh boy, but Elazer is already getting set up for a big boy push. Roaches are out, Lings are out, Queens are getting an even higher number, and the creep spread is looking pretty good. There we go, Lings do rock up towards this third base, but there are Void Rays to meet them, so they only deny a shield battery. At the same time, Void Rays rock up, and oh, looks like they will force a cancel of the 4th. Again, very little creep. Okay, there we go. I was like, we should see a cancel. Should not be a kill. Oh no, the Overlord! Oof, Overlord will get picked off. And the great thing about Tempest is that, of course, they're long range. If a Queen Walk did come, the Tempest should never die. Should be able to just shell away at the Queens for as long as possible. Another 6. We didn't even have a Spore in the main. Elazer is being so greedy. Oh my god. I don't know if he just plays this greedy or I don't know if he just doesn't respect his opponent, but get some goddamn Spores, mate. Jesus Christ. Okay. Meanwhile, Queen Push is coming. What do we have at home to defend? Disruptors are not done. They were delayed because of the Fleet Beacons, so Nina was being greedy herself, and we'll see if she's going to be punished for it. The army is here. We have a decent amount of Void Rays to try and slow this down. Tempest shelling away at this army as well. She's trying to get her wall up and running. She will. But, you know, the wall is not going to stand for much longer. Biles will be able to make short work of it. So far, the slow stepping is pretty good, but the shield battery is exposed. It's going to be focused down by all these things, and the probes will have to evacuate. Queen Walk dishing out a lot of damage, and it looks like Elazer should be able to take down this third. But that's kind of okay. Nina, I'm pretty sure she's more than willing to give up the third base as long as she keeps her army alive. Oh god! Almost. Where are the shield batteries? We need shield batteries at the natural. Oh god, a Void Ray is gonna go down. Almost. She's supply blocked. Oh no, worst case scenario here. We need pylons. We need shield batteries. Void Ray gets picked off. I thought things were going okay for Nina, but again, this supply block is hurting her so much. She's trying to get a third base up and running. Elazer is not going to let that happen. He is there. But the Queens are not, so the third base is going to get up. And now the goal of Nina is to turtle. Again, for nada these disruptors. Like, she delayed them for the carriers, for the Tempest. Was it worth it? We'll see. We'll see. Like, she still has a decent army, so she has time to rebuild and fortify her position. But Elazer has not been resting on his laurels. What do we have? We have a Spire. We should be seeing Corruptors soon. And if Elazer just maxed out on Corruptors, he can go for a follow-up push and end the game. Oh boy, there it is. 11 Corruptors are on the way. Elazer lacking in some Overlords. There we go. 3 more Overlords being thrown down. Again, just to allow that 200 supply. And I just don't think there's an answer for it. Like, maybe if we have enough cannons and shield batteries here, maybe Nina can defend this third. Maybe. There's a lot of queens. There's a lot of queens, mate. I don't know if I believe. Show me the Novas. Nova will go off, will connect with a lot of these queens. Where are the transfuses to help meet them? Meanwhile, at the same time, Lings are flooding in, and the disruptor will get picked off. And there was only one disruptor. Oof, To be fair, Nina did kind of carve a big chunk of queens out, and that is important. That's like step one. Step one is there, but she needs a little bit more. And Elazer, he's going straight into the main base. He's going to catch some reinforcements and maybe even corrosive bile, caustic spray down a nexus. The army's trying to respond, but it may be too late. I think the nexus is dead. Yep. Nexus will go down. Nina is knocked down to only 2 bases at the same time. In come the queens and the lings and the ravagers. The army was completely pulled out of position, and I feel like this is the end of the end, mate. Nina, she's gonna try and meet this. The corruptors at the same time focus down all of these carriers. Where is the static defense? It is not going to be enough. There is no overcharge. And Elazer is looking to take a quick, swift 1-0 lead in this series. Corruptors just focus down every single one of these void rays. The boys are pulled away, and a lot of these workers will survive. But what about the Sky Toss? With the death of all those void rays, like, these queens are going to have a much easier time dealing with all these carriers. Oh my god. I was not expecting that Nova. Jesus Christ. That was quite a Nova that went off there on those queens. They're out of energy. But the carriers are still falling. It was like, is the tide turning? Can Nina do it? But in come the reinforcements. I wanted to believe. But GG gets called, and Elazer does take game number 1. Ooh, and GG. Yeah, I can see just... I also agree, as a discussion is happening in the chat right now about which tech you go for, and I 100% agree when it comes to either going for an early Fleet Beacon or an early Robotics Bay. It's one or the other, right? Because we did only see 1 Tempest. You either commit to even more Tempests, and that will help you defend your 3rd, or you go into faster Disruptors instead, right? And then you like, by the time the army hits, you have 2, maybe even 3 Disruptors. But yeah, Nina, like her build itself felt a little bit scatterbrained. It felt a little bit all over the place and not as focused as it needed to be, unfortunately. Despite so much going right for her, like, it was impressive how much damage she was able to do, and her control with her oracles and her void rays. I was very impressed with how many drone kills she was getting. The cancel on the 4th, the kill of the overlords. Like, she was playing that aspect of the game really well, but again, the build itself was lacking a little bit, and it did mean that she didn't necessarily have the units that she needed at that 3rd. You know, it's you go for one or the other, right? You either get more Disruptors or you get more Tempests, and you get that third Stargate. I almost said shield battery. I was like, what? So yeah, it was did feel a little bit. I don't know if maybe Nina like changed her mind because of the damage that she was doing. Maybe she felt further ahead than she was. Hard to say, but here we go. We are now diving into game number 2. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Polish Zerg player representing Team x-kom AGO, and currently up in this series. Only needs 1 more to move on to the qualifying match. It is Elazer. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the American Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. Currently down in this series, but not out. She's still in this. It is Nina. Alright, here we go. What kind of opener are we going to expect here from her? Again, I was very happy with what she was able to accomplish with her Stargate opener. It wasn't bad whatsoever. So if she did open up with the Stargate again, I wouldn't be opposed to it. At the same time, maybe it is time to mix things up and go for, I don't know, a Twilight Council, mix in some Glaive Adepts. I mean, maybe, like, because of how aggressive Glaive Adepts can be, and because Nina has a ping advantage, maybe it's worth trying to do so to, like, pull apart Elazer, maybe. Otherwise, we could see some other openers. So some other more unorthodox ones, more aggressive and all-inny, are like, you know, you just throw down a robo for a war prism and you go across the map with upgradeless gateway units like stalkers and try and like overwhelm your opponent. There are a couple of other things that you could be doing, but we'll see. We'll see what she has in store for us. Again, typically in this matchup, we look more at the Protoss as to what their opener is, less so for the Zerg because, I mean, Elazer, he's just going to be getting more bases, droning up, making queens, not making spores. Shaking my head. As once again, he also goes for that same fast third hatchery build. I've seen Dark do this a lot recently. I think I saw Armani. It has been flowing through the Korean scene. Here on the CranKy Ducklings, we do cast a lot more Korean players than European. Every single week, we're always here with ESL Asia and stuff like that. Just because, you know, we are based in Oceania. I'm from Australia, if you didn't realize. So because of that, we're awake and we're here for Korean StarCraft. But Elazer seems as if he is quite fond of it as well. Much more greedy. Meanwhile, across the map, Nina does in fact go for the Stargate. So everything so far is looking pretty standard and just like game number 1. Obviously, the big difference is that we're on a different map, a smaller map, and there is no gold base, so Elazer won't be able to explode as quickly as he did, utilizing that gold on Pride of Altaris. That also came into play, even though Elazer was losing a lot of workers. Like, he had a gold base at the end of the day, so he could still replenish his army, make a lot of queens, and flood with lings. So, like, his push was still quite terrifying because of that map. But here we go. Once again, just like game number 1, Nina does prioritize her Oracle, not the Void Ray. So again, she's concerned a little bit more with dealing damage and scouting, less so when it comes to denying scouting and denying Overlords. She will eventually get a Void Ray, but again, doesn't opt to get it first. Meanwhile, Adepts just checking things, forcing Elazer to make a wave of lings to keep up with those shades and make sure the Adepts don't deal too much damage. The Adepts actually head towards the third base. Oh my god, there's no response! One drone immediately goes down, and the second, forced to turn it into a spore. So, oh my god, Elazer losing a couple more of these drones to go down in total. More than what was really expected. We see a recall and both Adepts will be saved. At the same time, Oracle dips into the natural base, but Elazer has learned his lesson. He has been humbled, and this madman made a spore. Crazy. He's insane. He's learning. We have a spore. I mean, you know, he kept that spore at the third base as well, and that will help out. Still no spore in the main, so this does mean that there is a weak point here in the bases of Elazer, and maybe Nina can exploit that later on. Maybe. We'll see. Meanwhile, a wave of lings does try and deny this third base, but the Void Ray is out here. Overlord went down and is able to protect said third. So Nina's going to be able to get it up and running, and she throws down a second Stargate. We should be seeing +1 air attack. Yeah, it is. +1 air attack. So again, same build so far. Everything's pretty much exactly the same as game 1. A couple of slight differences here and there, but overall, the overarching story of this game is the same. There's the Forge as well for those cannons. I think this is a bit of a difference. I could, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Nina got a Forge last game, which means she didn't have any cannons, if I recall correctly. So I think Nina is adjusting a little bit here, which means I don't think she's going to go for a Flea Beacon. We'll see. As the Adepts are finally cleaned up and quickly checking the vision, Nina did spot that Roach Warren, so she's aware of the potential of another Roach Ling Queen push. And there is that. Oh my god! Yeah, look, she's adapting. It's great. So yeah, she gets the Forge for those cannons for the stack defense. 2, she doesn't go for the Fleet Beacon. Instead, she goes for a Robo for the Robotic Survey for those disruptors, playing this a lot more safe. Oh, but Elazer reads her as well. Does she see? She sees! She sees the Spire! I was about to say that Elazer is not going for a Queen push. He throws down a Spire, he throws down Infestation Pit, he's going to be working on Corruptors instead. But Nina does spot this. So this means a couple of things. One, disruptors aren't going to be as useful. Like, the ground presence of a laser isn't going to be as strong. So going for a robotics bay probably isn't what you want right now. And because of that, we don't see one. We'll see what Nina decides to go for if she throws down more of those Stargates. I do think she needs additional Stargates. And there we go. We do have a fleet beacon. Like, I feel like a commitment into Void Rays is the way to go. Speaking of, Void Rays do come out across the map, but they do meet Queens here in the main base. Ooh. Void Rays do not find a way in. None of them die, but taking a lot of damage. And again, Nina just reconfirming that Elazer is at home, is not pushing out. Okay. We'll see how this goes. She goes to the weekend. She still goes for Robotics Bay. There is that third Stargate. She's taking up quite a bit. I worry that this Stargate is late. And I worry because, like, we need Void Rays. we need as many Void Rays as possible because, like, look at how many Corruptors coming out. 19 Corruptors. To be fair, Void Rays aren't the only answer to Corruptors, as an Oracle dips in, and again, every single time, 6 drones go down. No Spore at the 4th base. Elazer punished again. Still has a pretty good worker count, 82, but very nicely done by Nina. In the midst of all of this, able to deal some damage. But what I was gonna say is that, hey, if you're up against like a mass Corruptor army like this, Void Rays, Archons are kind of what you want. Oh boy, we'll see. Here comes Elazer. He's got his Corruptors. He has his Queens. Queens here to help transfuse, keep all these Corruptors alive, and they are going straight into the main. Oh god, no! They can get the Fleet Beacon. They can get the Nexus. They can get whatever they want. Oh my god. And they go for the Stargate. Void Rays are going to respond, but the Queens almost intercept. Stargate does go down. That will interrupt the Void Ray production. Meanwhile, Elazer turns around. A little bit of a mistake. He fights without his Queens, and a decent chunk of these Corruptors go down, but it may not matter because the Queens are still here. And once again, there are no shield batteries at the natural. There's nothing to support the Void Rays. They're forced all the way back to the 3rd base. Finally, we have a shield battery. Finally, we have an overcharge, and now we have an anchor point for these Voids, but it looks like it may not be enough. Queens are pushing on forward once again. And there's just no answer. Corruptors are dancing with the Voids, and there just aren't that many of them. Void Ray after Void Ray are getting picked off. The Roach Ravager is pushing in. We do have one Disruptor coming out, but one is not going to be enough. Nova? Up, up. Oh, Nova did go off, and it did go off on a lot of the Queens. But again, there are still just so many more Queens here. Ay, ay, ay. Elazer breaking on forward, breaks through the defenses. Robo's depowered, so one Disruptor is all we are getting. Decent Nova, but again, that Void Ray count is just not looking too healthy. Elazer's breaking on into the natural base, and it looks like he's not going to stop there. Pushing up into the main, there are 4 Void Rays, but GG gets called. It is not going to be enough, and Elazer takes the series 2-0. Oof. GG. And well played. Oh. Wasn't perfect, you know, there were some moments there when Nina was getting some hits in, but Elazer overall was able to execute his build quite well, just went for a timing with Corruptors and with Queens, and Nina just didn't really have an answer to it. She was working on a 4th base, like she didn't have too much stack defense, it was a little bit all over the place, and GG. GG, well played. And again, I just want to congratulate Nina for her performance today. Taking down Bjorn was no easy feat. She may not have qualified, but she did have a pretty good result anyway. So there we go. Elazer does take the series and moves on to a qualifying match. And it looks like both matches are about to start. So we have Dongre Gu versus Special, Cheeky TVZ, and we also have a PVZ in Showtime versus Elazer. Again, take a look at the bracket if you want to have a look at the run of all these players and how they got there. But it looks like, yeah, it looks like we're going to try and split up all of the casters as best we can.